mini bands and a low box or step. I've got multiple bands I'll use in terms of type and resistance level based on the exercise. And you can use any low box or step. I'm using the sand dune stepper, and aerobic step works. You can find things like phone books, wooden boxes, lots of options. First movement is a hip walk complex, lateral hip walk complex. So we're gonna do a minute in a bent over hinge position. The harder position is first, and then we do a minute in an upright position. So you wanna get as full of a hinge as you can. Ideally full tabletop, flat back, head in line with spine. If you have to modify a bit and get more upright, you can. But this is just gonna instantly get more of a glute ham engagement as we take a couple steps to the side, a couple steps to the other side. Just keep repeating that pattern. Obviously you can do more steps based on the space allowed. In your living room, a really small space, a couple each way is all you need. You do a minute just like that, staying flat. By that time, the glute and hams are already toast. Then you get upright, get a slight bend in the knees, and then now we kind of use that pre-exhaust, and now we smoke it out in the second minute. All right? Make sure the feet never get too close. You always want to keep tension in your mini band. So if you get too close like this, you can even see the slack and it'll start to kind of slip on you. This also makes sure that there's constant tension in those hips. All right? So keep the width and rock those glutes. It's always a built-in warm-up, especially with that exercise. Very corrective. From there, we're gonna go with a different type of mini band. One that is a little bit lighter, because we're wrapping it around our feet. And this is a core crushing complex. You're really gonna probably hate me after this. Put it right like this. You're gonna really emphasize the dead bug. Flatten your lower back as hard to the ground as you can. You want no space. If someone tried to slide their hand underneath your low back, they couldn't do it. That's how you maintain good core control and prevent the low back from bothering you. So you get down like this, either head down like this. I personally just don't like the head positioning with the head down. I tend to kind of come up, almost do it like an upper ab crunch here to kind of maintain that positioning. One knee fights to stay in hip flexor abs on one side as we kind of leg press the other, all right? So that's our dead bug. Hands right at your side here. You can make this harder, by the way, by bringing the hands up here, or even maintaining that crunch position kind of fully extended. It's actually a hollow body gymnastics position which rocks the abs. But as you're pushing out, fight to maintain that knee at hip level or just above, ideally, to get that full psoas hip flexor development we're looking for. You got to get that knee above the hip to get the psoas going. You do that for the first minute, and then you come right into a slow and steady mountain climber right away for the second minute. Root yourself down. Again, movement is at the hips, not the low back. So this is what I mean. I don't want you flexing your low back and spine or moving your position. It's all through the hips. Push your hands on the floor, spread your fingers, and man, especially with doing the dead bug first, those abs and shoulders, well, abs are gonna be on fire from 2 minutes of work. Shoulders will really start to cook in that climber as well. So that's that pairing. From there, any band you want, putting at the above knee level, all right? This is a nice little cardio foot quickness drill, low impact, more low impact than normal, especially with the low box or step. I like the sand dune stepper because it mimics sand. You get a little instability, so it's very joint friendly, great for the lymphatic system. So you're gonna do 1 minute of basically a 1-2. The band here is gonna get a little more hip activation. So I'm gonna go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. All right, second minute, I go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So you're picking up that leg, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Keep repeating that pattern, all right? If that lateral one confuses you, you can do the regular one for a full 2 minutes, but I want you to get both planes of motion going. Again, you slow it down, take your time, but you can always speed it up. And again, you'll feel more hip activation now with the band attached there. From there, I do ideally want you to have access to use those sofa cushions, pillows, pads like this to take some pressure off of your fists, because in order to do this movement, you gotta be on the fist, so I don't want it to bother you that way. So you're gonna hold the mini band like this. We've done these in past months, but not in this particular mechanical drop sequence. So we start in a harder push-up position for the first minute. Second minute, we continue the movement at the level of the upper body, but we shorten your body lever to extend time under tension. So we go from push-up to bear row. So we start here. I'm going to keep my hips and shoulders square to the ground, push down with one hand as we row with the other, all right? I can add a push-up between reps if I want, or I can just do the rows. Second minute, you guessed it, bear position. So this is technically easier, but it's gonna feel just as hard as the push-up would be because of the pre-fatigue in that position. There's no push-up here, you're just rowing, all right? And that key is that push-pull action, so we're getting that shoulder health really optimized push-pull on each action from there, all right? Then we go next, elevated reverse crescent lunges. You're gonna take a really light one, because now it's at the wrist level. You need a lighter resistance there. At your wrist level there, we're gonna use that extended low box or step. If it's too hard, just do it on the floor. The extended range of motion, you get more movement at both the knee and the hip for more glute quad work and again, more mobility. I love packaging and mobility into the workouts. So we go from there, you're gonna start hands down here, keeping tension out against the band. You step back, and as you're coming through there, you make that crescent moon position, keeping the ribs and shoulders down, abs crunch, back glute tight, pull right through. You'll do all your reps on one side, start with weak side first, before switching, and then keeping tension out against that band to work your rotator cuff and your scapular muscles. That one is gonna really light you up in a big way, especially because shoulder level, 2 minutes of that tension into that shoulder girdle. Final movement, low box burpees for 2 minutes. These are tough, and many of you will just have to do it where you're not even going into any sort of push-up or jump. We're using that mini band to activate glutes and hips and improve form and technique. We're using a low box step because I just think this is a better, guarantees better form, autocorrects your form. A lot of the issues with burpees happen in the last few inches off the ground. So we get a nice good wide sumo stance. This also allows you to get a nice little, very neutral grip, very easy on the wrists and shoulders. Come down, jump out, bring it back, stand up. All right, that's our easier version. You can add a push-up at the bottom. All right, you could also add a jump at the top. All right, and again, the jump will also be auto-corrected by the mini band because it's gonna force you, instead of letting those knees trail into that valgus position, which is dangerous, you're gonna jam out against that band, activate those lateral hips, put your joints in a better position. Those are the moves. As always, mini band major problems. Add the low backs into the equation, you've got one hell of a workout. Peace.